Hey y'all, hey, welcome to another Making Magic session. I have the lovely Vaginal Davis here. Happy Friday, Vag.
Happy Friday!
Yay. So Vag
Yay!
is in Berlin. Yeah.
Yes, I'm here in it's beautiful but bleak Berlin.
Yes.
And today it's a little overcast, so the light coming in the studio isn't as great as it should be at this time at 5 o'clock. It should be much better light coming in, but it's really overcast and not much good light is coming in into the studio today. So, but what can you do?
It looks great to me. It looks bright. You got like your tulips in the back. I mean, that's all the light you need.
You're right. I'm trying to be as spring like as possible. I'm really, 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 really trying. You
Yeah.
know. Oh, there! Now I can see you again. It was this text message blocking your face, and I
Oh,
didn't realize I had to scroll down.
oh, technology.
I'm a I'm such a luddite when it comes to technology.
That's fine. That's even better. I think that you're even better in real life. We need to be more connected, to our just physical selves, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. And now that it's spring, I'm just happy that there's more light because of daylight savings. So
Yeah.
now the sun's not going down proper
Mm,
until about almost 7.
that's
Whereas before during the harshness of winter, oh my God, it was just horrible. Sometimes it gets dark at like 3 o'clock, 3:30, and that's
I
so depressing.
feel so you've been living in Berlin for a while, right? Like,
Almost 20 years now.
oh wow. Okay, that is wild. So I've been to Berlin and spent like a chunk of time, spent like a month, there kind of here and there. This is when I was still doing PR and, work with a client, DJ'd a little bit. And then a really, really good friend of mine used to live there. But we would talk. Now he lives in Amsterdam. And you hit the nail on the head with the word bleak. Like it can be really bleak there. So how do you keep yourself
Completely.
uplifted?
Oh, it's difficult during those winter months, sweetie, because it's gray, it's dark almost every day. It rains a lot, and oh God, if I didn't have my therapy,
Yeah, sure.
forget it. I have to have that therapy, sweetie pie,
That's
and
good.
to be able to go and talk to someone sometimes twice a week. Usually it's once a week, but on occasions I need to have somebody there, talking to me twice a week.
Yeah,
And
listen.
if I don't have that, oh my God, trying to get through winter. And I got diagnosed early about this year last time,
Mm,
about this yeah, around this time last year. I got diagnosed with type 1, late onset type 1 diabetes.
mm,
And at first I thought that, oh, well, because I know there's two kind of diabetes, and there's the type 2 and the type 1, but I have the type 1, which is the kind that doesn't go away with exercise and diet. It's the
right.
one that I guess you're born with. But
Yeah.
for some strange reason, mine didn't materialize until I was like in my 60s. It's like, why did it wait so long? And now I have to take insulin 4 times a day, and I
Wow.
have to always eat it at different at certain at the same time all the time, and,
Mm,
and 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 you have to like constantly go to doctors all the time because the diabetes controls everything in your body. Not
mm-hmm.
to be a Miss Deborah S. Downer,
No, no, no. This is just lifing. Yeah, this is life. Yeah.
but it's like, actually it's probably best that I did that it manifested itself later in life, that got to be in my 60s, because I probably wouldn't have been able to handle it if it happened to me when I was younger, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And now, let's face it, I'm a settled age person. When you get to be in your 60s, you're a settled age person.
Mm.
And it's not like I'm gonna go flitting and floating about, prancing and dancing and all that kind of stuff. So, your life just becomes at this time, about like going to a lot of doctors and whatnot. And
Mm.
because you have to keep on top of it with diabetes. Is if you don't, it's like it can be tragic,
Yeah.
really, really tragic. So
It,
I'm just like doing the best that I can, you
that's all
know.
you can do, literally taking it day by day and just
Yeah,
getting
that's
your
what I'm trying to do.
yeah, you're doing it. I can see the way you present yourself. You're doing it. You're walking it.
Well, I try to stay optimistic, and be like, Pollyanna, but
Mhm.
with a hatchet.
I like that. Yes, a hatchet or a bag of marbles, ready to.
Mhm. Yes, indeed. You got to do what you got to do, and I try to like stay optimistic, and surround myself around a lot of young people and whatnot, so I don't just become a little old fuddy duddy, little tiny old fuddy duddy of a lady.
Yeah.
But with the pandemic and everything, it was really hard because I'm immune compromised. So I can't like be around big groups of people, and everything's just completely opened up pretty much now. I don't
Mhm.
know how it is in Miss New York, but here in Berlin, they don't have, even on the public transportation, you don't have to wear masks or anything. I still do when I'm out
Me too. I
in
wear
public.
actually in on the trains and like enclosed spaces. Definitely. Yeah.
Yes, going indoors, I've slowly started to try to eat indoors in restaurants,
Uh-huh.
but it just makes me so uncomfortable. I can't really enjoy myself trying to eat inside of a restaurant.
Yeah, it makes you paranoid. Well, now the weather is getting warm, so you get to eat outside, which is
I
good.
know, thank goodness. It hasn't quite got warm enough to eat outside yet, but it's getting there. It's
Hmm.
definitely getting there.
Yeah.
So, but you can't just keep yourself completely closed in forever. And I haven't traveled also in 3 years.
Yeah. That's
You
gonna
know,
you're gonna get back into it. It's gonna the timing is gonna be right when it
have
is.
you been traveling?
I haven't been traveling a lot. I haven't done out of the country travel since before the pandemic, but
Mm-hmm.
more like kind of local stuff. Yeah. Um, I mean, recently I went to Miami for a gig. Yeah, I travel mostly like, for gigs and things, but most of my like, work is here in New York. But I'm traveling to see my parents in Virginia next week.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but I can't wait to like travel out of the country again.
Well,
Have you?
I haven't left the country. I My first bit traveling was in October of last year with
Mhm.
the Cheap Collective that I work with. We did a performance in Cologne,
Okay,
and
yeah.
so that was the first time that I had been on a train in 3 years.
How was it like? What was that experience like?
It was freaky because I don't go anywhere, so
Yeah,
it's like it
yeah.
just felt really, really strange. But it actually was kind of nice to actually be in front of a live audience for the first time, and the audience was kept very separate from us with the way that we performed. Jonathan Berger, he designed everything so that the audience was kind of separate from us. And the
Mm-hmm.
majority of the audience was even on a different floor looking down, and there were video screens, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't, and I was performing with my mask on, even singing with my mask
Yeah.
on. So I didn't have any real direct contact with the audience. But that was like my first performance in 3 years. And on the train, I had my mask on the train right there. And it's not that far. It's only like about 5 or 6 hours from Berlin to Cologne.
Okay.
But it just felt weird to like to be outside of Berlin and to go somewhere. And then of course I hadn't been in a hotel in 3 years, and I love hotels.
Me too.
Oh my God.
I love a hotel.
I adore hotels. Well, yeah, because like prior to the pandemic, being you're a DJing, you were like traveling a lot and staying at a lot of hotels, and I love boutique hotels. Those little cute, nicely designed boutique hotels. I
Yeah.
love those. And I'm
Getting
one of those people that I like taking hot steam baths. So a lot of hotels don't have bathtubs. So I always had to get a hotel. I had to make sure that whoever was bringing me someplace, they got me a hotel with a bathtub and it has to be a big bathtub because I'm a larger than average girl. So for me to even fit in a tub, it's got to be pretty big. And I like to just soak in that tub. I can soak in the tub for hours. Just that's my relaxation is just being in a tub.
Oh, I love that you said that. That's such a special place. I think tubs are underrated. And now it's like,
Completely. I hate showers.
yeah, I know. I know. It's so quick, it's so fast. Yeah, you just need to like soak and just be in it and just like let all your worries just melt.
Completely, yeah. And when I lived in Los Angeles, I had a humongous, gigantic apartment in Koreatown. I don't know if you're familiar with Los Angeles or not,
Yeah.
but I lived in the Koreatown section of Hollywood of Los Angeles, which used to be the old Irish section of Los Angeles when LA was divided into different ethnic neighborhoods and whatnot. And now it's the Korean neighborhood. And
Mm,
that apartment I had was built in the early 1920s, like 1922. And the same owners had owned it since the 20s. And
oh,
they were really very eccentric people. Like they only wanted the right person living in the apartment. So it's like they didn't care how much money you made and whatnot. You had to have the right energy for
I'm
the apartment. And for whatever reason, the woman who owned the building, she liked me. And, she let me have this. It was my first humongous, gigantic apartment with
sure.
3 bedrooms, with each having a bathroom. It had like a dining room, a huge living room. It had a garage. And, I never learned how to drive a car,
You
even though
had a
I'm from the
garage?
city of cars. I never learned how to drive a car. So I got a garage and
Wow.
that was just for storage for my sets and costumes and things like that. Because I never learned how to drive. I rode a bicycle in Los Angeles, and these were when I lived in Los Angeles. It was before the days of bike culture. Now there's bike culture with critical mass.
Yes.
That whole movement, but
Yep.
that didn't really exist when I was living in Los Angeles. So I was an anomaly. This strange, bizarre person riding around on a vintage 1940s bicycle with 2 huge baskets in the front and one in the back, carrying my groceries and everything. That's how I got around. And of course, public transportation on
Yeah.
the buses, and then later when the subways came about. But the subways never really went anywhere. But the woman who owned the building, she was you had to be the right person for the apartment, and she didn't care if an apartment stayed empty for 3 years. It had to be the right person for it. And
Yeah.
so she never raised the rent. Can you imagine an owner who never raises the rent?
I love it. It was meant to be. That's amazing.
Yeah, she never raised the rent. But then her husband came down with Alzheimer's.
Um,
And her kids didn't want the responsibility of the apartments that she owned.
yep.
So she sold it. And the person that bought the apartment building, we were all paying way below market for
Yeah.
these huge apartments. And the new guy that bought it, he wanted us out because he wanted to charge above market rates. Because I had a 3 bedroom apartment, gigantic apartment, and an extra room over the driveway. And
Yeah.
she could have been the original owner could have been getting like 3,000 a month for it, and I was only paying 500 a month. That's
Yeah.
it for all that space. And all my friends from Europe or from back east would come. They could come to and stay with me. I
Yeah.
had an extra bicycle for them. They had their own room with their own private bathroom and their own separate entrance to get in the apartment, so they could bring all their tricks. And I wouldn't hear them, doing all their nasty stuff.
So
They wouldn't disturb me.
you had a boutique hotel. That was like a little
My apartment, and it was also my film studio, my art studio. It was like its own compound. I was so fortunate and so lucky. But back in those days, LA was the cheapest of all the international cities. So you got a lot for your buck in those days. But then now, but then of course, LA, had to catch up with the rest of the world, like New York and San Francisco and London and all the other boutique cities. And then rents just went sky, sky, sky high. And I basically, when this new owner came, I was paying way below market and he wanted us out. I was the only one who fought him because I had a friend who was like a high priced lawyer and represented me. And my friend said, like, we'll win the first round of this, but you pay so little for all this space. He's going to do everything to try to get you out. Do you want you're an artist. Do you want your job to be keeping this apartment?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't want this ugly, fugly man getting any money from me at all. And so, my lawyer made a deal with his lawyer, and I was able to stay there for another 6 months rent free. And then my colleagues in the Cheek Collective here in Berlin, because I'd already been going back and forth from Berlin to Los Angeles, they said, well, why don't you come move here? And I never in a million years thought about living in another country. Never, it never even crossed my mind, let alone Germany. It's like maybe I thought maybe living in London or France, but not Germany, and you never say never because here I am and I've been here for all this time and I have a health insurance for artists. Künstler Social, it's health insurance for artists. And my health insurance, it takes care of things like Eastern and Western medicine and acupuncture and massage and my therapy. It pays for the therapy. You don't get that in Miss US of Los Angeles and A, do you get that there in Miss LA, in Miss US? KKKK? No, you don't. You don't get any of those. You get, even if you have good insurance, you get very little for it. Because, insurance is basically a grift. Like everything else in the US, it's a grift. And so you get nothing. And it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And, and now that I'm older and mostly all my relatives are dead and whatnot, I don't really have, I only have like one older sister who's, 10 years older than me. I'm 62 and she's 72. And so, I only have her and I have like my niece and her I have her kids and her kids' kids. So it's like I have great nieces and great, or whatever they're called. I don't know what your niece's children's children are called, but them, and most of them I don't really know them. So it's like there was nothing holding me to staying in Los Angeles because my mother had passed back in 2000. My Black Creole Choctaw Indian mom. She had died in 2000, and then my other three of my other sisters had died too since 2000, and so I only have one sister left. I'm the baby of the family. I'm the little baby. So I'm pretty much all by my little lonesome lady self in the world. You feel like an orphan when your mother passes. You really do. And and that's another reason why I'm so neurotic, because when you're all by yourself, you just get completely like frazzled all the time. But I've made it work here. I have like a nice contingent of people and supporters here in Berlin. And I've made it. It was difficult, those early years, the first years of living here. I did miss Los Angeles because the food in Los Angeles is so great. Okay. And the weather is so wonderful. The sun's always shining, and that beautiful Los Angeles light. Yeah. Oh my God, But I got used to the different seasons. I'm still always cold all the time. I get used to the chilly weather, and I hate snow. Snow to me is not cute in the least. I do not like snow. And with global warming, the last few, I guess, a decade or so, it hasn't been snowing at all, mostly in the winter. Or if it does snow a little bit, it never sticks on the ground. So, like when I first moved here, the winters were, oh my God, super, super harsh. Yeah. And that was really difficult. Your Los Angeles coats don't cut it here. No. But like, now I like having different seasons. And right now with the spring, you see the blooming of all the trees, the leaves coming back in flowers. Yeah, it's a nice process. It's definitely a nice process. And I've never lived in New York for a long period of time. I've been to New York for like little residencies or things like that here and there over the many centuries I've been alive. But I've never lived in New York, and I've never really wanted to live in New York. It never really New York never really spoke to me, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
You gotta look.
But I was just I'm a Los Angeles girl, always have been, and I never saw myself actually leaving Los Angeles.
Mm,
I never did, and because the circumstance of losing my really wonderful apartment that I had for so many years, and the rent was so cheap. And if you're not like having to like, hustle, hustle, hustle to make your rent, you can do fun things and you can do creative things. And that's what LA was all about before,
yeah.
but not anymore. Ooh, ouch, 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 honey. It's a hard knock town now.
It is. I mean, and New York, I mean, as you know, is super hard knock. The rents here
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to go there. No, I mean, at this point, this is home for me, but I definitely get why people don't gravitate to it, especially now, like I've been here for a while. So, like I've already kind of developed my thick skinness, to
Well, you
be,
got now that New York moxie, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I do
And
love,
you're gorgeous, honey. It's like the world is your oyster, sweetie. You can climb the highest James Baldwin mountain, baby. Mm, mm, mm.
you are gorgeous.
Oh, honey, I'm just an old nappy-headed lady. I had to always have a head rag to cover all my naps
Stop
and
it.
my cookabuds, honey. You don't want to see my cookabuds.
You better stop. Well, can I pull a card for you?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm just gonna surround us with all the light, all the tulips, the spring, the flowers, all that good positive juju, all that amazing Creole energy. Just
Mm-hmm.
you and that. And I don't know if you have a question in particular. You don't have to. I like how
Oh,
you don't, I mean,
well, is there a man in my future, honey? I need me a man, girl. I need somebody. It doesn't necessarily have to be a man at my age. I'll take whatever I can get.
okay, wait. Okay, so let's marinate on that. So that question is out here in the universe. Let's see what she has to say in response. So I'm gonna shuffle the card 3 times, and I'm gonna pick a card that pops out to me, and then I'll show you, and then we'll kind of marinate on it, see what it means.
Ooh, goody.
Okay. So actually, let me see. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna fan them out. All right, let's see what we have here. Hmm. Okay. So it's interesting that you're talking about love.
Mm-hmm.
3 of
Ooh.
So okay, whenever I'm doing cards or pulling cards, I always say tarot is like the special language that you have like a personal relationship with. And I pull cards for myself every morning. That's kind of my therapy. That like anchors me in my day. It helps with like self-reflection, all these things. And as I pull the cards, I kind of like grow like with the messages and kind of like, you learn more about it each time you do it. And so my interpretation of this card is just like letting your emotions like free, like just all anything that's like weighing on your heart, you just like let it just free, let it go, like let it just run through you, like acknowledge all the feels, and just like let it just wash over you, just like you're in that tub soaking away. Let those emotions just kind of like soak away from you. And to me, this in relation to your question is almost saying like, the more you lean into that, the more you open up your heart, the more your heart is just like receptive to whatever love and in whatever form it comes to you.
Ooh. Well, I have to learn in therapy, I have to learn how to make myself more vulnerable because, living as this persona, you become so many different people,
Yeah.
and is there a real you anymore?
Uh-huh.
And I think because I'm this larger than life kind of person, it's like it's scary Mary to anyone to want to feel like they could try to share a life with someone like this.
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. But it's not scary. You're you. And I would just, the more you that you are, which can mean, like I said, just feeling your emotions and, not having like fear around it or any fear of judgment around it. The more you, I think you are, you're going to just attract the person or the people, that should be in your life, in your
Ooh. Well, that's a nice optimistic reading. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're always optimistic. I don't believe in those like doom and gloom. This, to me, that's not what this is for. I feel like it's always going to have an optimistic, even when it's what's the word? Not critical, but even when it is like prescriptive, like it's always for your best. It's always like to kind of get you where you're trying to go, like to kind of push you deeper into that path.
hmm Well, I have definitely made some inroads, in telling people and letting, because I do have like a huge circle of international people in my life, and
Yeah.
just putting it out there to select people who I really trust and whose opinions on things really matter to me, letting them know that, I've been an all alone girl for such a long time, and
Yeah.
telling them that I'm trying to open myself up to having something in my life, and putting it out to these people to keep their eye open for someone who they think would be a fit for me,
Mm.
and because I was vulnerable enough to actually ask that of people, which before, I would never have, years ago, never have done anything like that.
Yeah.
The response has been overwhelming
Oh.
because people just thought that, oh, that girl, she's like so into her own world. It's like, she's on top of everything. She doesn't really need anyone because she's like just so, people saw me as being so completely strong that I didn't need a life partner. I didn't need anyone really. I just like was just like, I was just in my own little cosmos. And
Mhm.
that cosmos was so self-contained, it didn't really have room for anyone else or anything. And I
Yeah.
guess I didn't realize that I needed someone too. I thought that I was just like, I was just such Miss Independent woman that I didn't need a thing,
Yeah.
from anybody. And now I'm realizing, I'm not so independent, and there's things that I do need. And I've spent so much time like, fixing everybody else up, giving them their lover, their boyfriend, their girlfriend, their significant other. I've been like Dolly Levi, from Hello Dolly, the matchmaker to everyone. And now I'm trying to see if people can match me with somebody because oh my God, I've matched made everyone all over the universe. I've been such a person of social introductions to people and whatnot, but no one's ever gotten anyone for me or introduced anyone to me. And I put that out there just recently, and the response has been trickling in, and it's been really something, and it's been inspiring too.
Oh, I can't wait to get an update. I want to hear more about this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Good for you for being able to just feel empowered enough to even ask. Cause I am definitely understand it. I think, women, femmes, like we all, I don't know, we always think that we have to be like much stronger, than the average being. um,
Mm-hmm.
you need that wake up call to just say, you know what? You don't need to be like superhuman. Like you get to just be human.
Exactly. And I wasn't talking about reflection. I wasn't reflecting on any of my needs. It was always like putting my former students and current students ahead of my needs. Everybody else, except for what I needed, you
Yeah.
know? And that's just, you're just sort of trained in that sphere of doing that. And it
Mhm.
just became so much of my life.
Yeah.
And now I have to like break that script and
This
get
is
a
you're gonna break it, let it just all flow, get rid of it, you know, let it go from your heart, lighten that heart.
yeah, yeah. It's got to like it's got a flow out.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Zoom is about to kick us off as she tends to do.
Oh.
We have like 5 minutes left. But I'm gonna end this recording session and say goodbye to the people that are watching. But you don't go. You maybe stay with me and we can have like our close out behind the scenes. But
Oh,
I'm
I come down. I come
or
down.
yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna
Wow,
say
it went by so quick. Woo!
because it was so juicy and delicious. I want to say so much love to any and everyone who is watching this. Thank you for joining us. And until the next one, thank you, Vaginal, for blessing us with your beauty and your energy.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was wonderful. Just wonderful having this girl time.
Exactly. Bye, you guys.
Bye, everyone.